This is my Suburban furnace out of my Winnebago. SF-42 is the model. I just finished replacing the blower motor in it. I didn't give a step-by-step video because it's hard to take the video while I'm working, but it's a fairly easy procedure once you remove it from the unit, from the vehicle. Found it's easiest to remove the one bolt right here. Hopefully yours is only held in by the one bolt. There is a spot for a bolt on the middle and the back, but because of the location of mine, they didn't install it because you can't remove it once it's installed in the motorhome. Mine was removed from the outside of the vehicle. I had to remove a panel and to get to it. But to replace the blower motor, it's a fairly simple job. You'd start by removing the circuit board. These two screws. You'll unplug this connector. There's a connector right here for the igniter, and then there's two connectors on the bottom of the switch. Remove the blower motor, clean the dust off of it, and then you'll get an Allen wrench, and you have to come in through here. I believe it was an 1/8 inch Allen. Yes, it's an 1/8 inch, and it's hard to see in here, but you can access the screw. Anyway, you can access the screw with a Allen wrench. I used a long one to break it loose and a short one to loosen it up enough to slide out. I left the cage inside the housing. I did not remove the squirrel cage blower from the housing here. But then you'll move down here, take the screws off. I believe there's 5 or 6 of them that hold the air intake housing on. Unfortunately on mine I could not remove the exhaust, but you can get this out. And then there's another 1/8 inch Allen in here to remove the blower for the exhaust draft induce fan. And once you remove that, again, you cannot get the blower cage out of the housing because of the exhaust. So what you have to do then is remove the blower housing from the burner assembly. And these screws, there's 5 of them. The ones on the top are fairly easy to get to, but the ones on the bottom, you'll need a long screwdriver and possibly a ratchet with a bit in it, just depending on how they're in. I was able to get mine with all of them with a long screwdriver. You'll also remove this bracket, and that will give this some play to move around. I also found that it was pinched behind the gas valve that kind of held it tight, so I had to wedge a screwdriver in here, and I also removed the bracket here holding the fuel line to give that more room to move around. Once this is moving around freely, you can lift it up, pull the blower cage out. Then all you have are 2 nuts, one on the top and one on the bottom, that you access from inside the blower cage. Once the blower fan is removed, you can see the 2 nuts in there. Here's my old motor that shows you the 2 nuts, where the studs where the nuts are on. So you remove those, then you can remove the housing, and then you can pull the motor out of the other fan assembly. There's 2 wires on it. One of them is right here, the red power wire, and the ground wire is underneath. Again, it's hard to see without the light, but there is a ground block back there. Let's lift it up. There you can see the ground block, the one with the blue connector black wire is the ground wire for the motor. So it's not as easy as some units, but it can be done. This is for a squealing motor that was caused by water getting into the air intake from the previous owner using it to launch their boat or jet ski in the lake. This unit's mounted right behind the rear tire, and unfortunately it got submerged when they backed into the lake. Water filled up in here and sat inside the draft motor. So I removed it, cleaned all the rust, repainted it, and replaced the motor. So now I'll install it in the motorhome and test it for leaks using a soap solution on all the gas fittings to make sure it doesn't leak, and we'll fire it up to see if our noise is gone. Hope this helps.